You're in front of the Israeli School, Universal Practical Knowledge, the Philadelphia Division, here at 3226 Cheltenham Avenue in Philadelphia. We're standing in front of the school right now, getting a description of the 12 tribe sign that's been painted by one of the brothers that was in the school: Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar. Those are the 12 tribes of Israel.
Shalom. Shalom. You've been waiting for this day, so this day has finally come. A lot of you have been wondering where this knowledge that you've been hearing is coming from, and the powerful truth that you've been hearing, how this was established. Well, we finally were able to arrange for the priests to come down from New York and spend some time with us. And I'd like to introduce them if I can. These are some great brothers. We're very glad to have them with us. We want to make them feel as warm as possible, because this is their work and the extension of their work and what they've laid down some time ago. I'd like to introduce, first of all, priest and Sixth Shield General, 4th in command in the nation of Israel, Lahab. I'd like to salute this brother. Macho. Barak. Yeshabim, which means sit. And I'm going to turn it over now to Priest General Lahab.
Water, brother. I'd like to say this, starting off, we're very impressed at your school here, and we're very impressed to see that the brothers and sisters in Philadelphia think enough of the Most High and the Bible and the truth and your nationality to be a part of this, because most of the brothers and sisters are running from the truth.
Hey, Shalom, Lord Christ. It's Officer 5000 Jeremiah, the camp leader of Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm here to invite you, Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people, to the ISUPK 57 annual Passover, hosted by Commanding General Yohana, the leader of this nation, Saturday, April 4th at the BH Ranch, Houston, Texas. Shalom. Be there.
All right, let me hit y'all up with something. Many of us, we talk about the Bible and claim to love God and all of this, claim to follow God, right? What you really want to do to be following God is not celebrating Christmas, Thanksgiving, and New Year's, pagan holidays that's not in the Bible. You need to be making it down to the Lord's 57th annual Passover in Houston, Texas. It's going to be on April the 4th. The fee to get in is $200 per person. The Lord said, you know, not to come in any of his feast days empty-handed, so that is why that fee is there on the table. So it's $200 per person, and what you want to do is make it down there and celebrate the Lord's Passover with true prophets of God from the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge.
You a black, native, or Hispanic, you need to be at the Lord's Passover. The only Passover is with the ISUPK under Commander Jerry Yohana. Don't let them lie to you. If you out here celebrating this right here, you for sure gotta come celebrate with your people. Alright? The weather gonna look way better than this, and it's in Texas. The ISUPK under Commander General Yohana presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover in Houston, Texas, April 4th, 2026. Pay your Passover fees. ISUPK.com. $200 per adult. Kids get in free.
If you are black, Hispanic, or indigenous, you are an Israelite according to the Bible. And the Most High commanded the children of Israel in Leviticus 23 and verse 5, and all throughout the Bible, to keep the Lord's Passover. That's right, the Lord's Passover, coming up on April 4th, 2026, under Commander General Yohana. You don't want to miss it. Be there. Shalom. For the low fee of $200, get your Passover fee in, access to the full venue, food, parties, all that. Don't miss it.
It's that time of year. We're going to be in Houston, Texas from April 1st to April 5th, celebrating the Lord's 57th Annual Passover under Commanding General Yohana. Jam-packed, full of events, line dances, fishing, horseback riding, rides for the kids, bounce houses, and the annual lamb slaughter held at the BH Ranch. And it ain't no party like the all-black party, the annual all-black party. 14149 Player Street in Houston, Texas. You know it's gonna be lit. All leading up to Saturday, April 4th, the Lord's 57th Annual Passover. You still got time. Go to ISUPK.com to pay your Passover fee. 18 and over, $200. You do not want to miss the Lord's 57th Annual Passover. Houston, Texas. Shalom.
Shalom. This is to all Israelite groups and all Israelite communities and all breakoffs from One West and breakoffs from breakoffs from breakoffs from breakoffs. No matter what rainbow uniform you wear, red, white, purple and white, all white, it don't matter. You should all treat the ISUPK like your weird, misunderstood Sabbaths. You shouldn't do anything until you counsel with the ISUPK. We'll tell you when and what to eat. We'll tell you who to marry. We'll tell you who to have sex with and how. We'll tell you how to resolve conflicts with your wives. We'll tell you how to resolve conflicts with your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your friends, everybody. We'll tell you when and how to pray. We'll tell you how to direct your life in a way that's pleasing to the Most High God of Israel and our Black King Yahushua, a.k.a. Jesus Christ. We will be to you instead of a God. Just like the Most High told Moses in Exodus 4:16 that Aaron would be to him instead of a mouth, and he would be to Aaron instead of a God. That's what we'll do for you. It is what you all need, because none of you know what the fuck you are doing. I pray you understand. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Yabashimi Yashar Barakatah, sir. How you doing?
Hey, I'm Tuwab. I'm Tuwab. Shalom. Shem Shabbat. Can you hear me okay?
We hear you perfect, sir.
Come, Most High in Christ. All right. Shalom, Israel. Yabashim Shabbat Thumb. All the brothers. Yabashim Thumb. Bashim Yashad. All the sisters. Lord, allow everybody surviving this cold right now. What's it like in Detroit? Is it the same weather over there that it is here?
I'm gonna tell you like this. Outcast said it's colder than the polar bear's toenail. Oh yeah, there we go again. Then I looked on the news, sir. They call it the polar vortex. So I looked that polar vortex up. So it said is when the Arctic is warmer than the North Pole. That's when you get the polar vortex. Right. So that's that's the scientific reason why we get it. The Lord wanted to freeze them niggas. That's what I think. This what it is. This is what it feel without heat. Your car don't heat up. Your house don't heat up. They closing the schools because the schools are too cold for the kids to sit in class. I was just telling my brother the other day, I'm glad they started doing that, because I remember them days where we used to have to walk backwards in this stuff.
Right. Yeah, I could have sworn they sent us as kids to that bullshit.
They would close the suburban schools and all the inner city schools. Kids be frozen at the bus stop.
God. But yeah, the water for everybody tuning in. We have another Monday night history class. All right. Shout out to everybody checking in. Carolyn Radsville, Radapia, Kwamada, Aisha Banath, Nashar Gabar, and Maria. All right. The water for everybody tuning in. Y'all Bashim Shabbat Thumb. Y'all Shema Thumb Bashim Shai. You got any questions? Type your questions in the chat. And of course, don't miss Captain Hadaria Allah's scripture breakdown class tomorrow. Bring all your questions. Cap Hadar will get that answer for you. All right.
Damn right.
So for tonight's class, there's been some interesting things happening over in Minneapolis.
Yes, sir.
Right, over in Minnesota, where the ICE agents have been going crazy. And it has been, in some parts, glorious in my sight to see the abuse and the terrorism that they've been committing on our people for so long, has turned their heads and fallen on their own people. You know what I mean? I know Capadar broke this down last week, that when you're a people that sow so much wickedness, that wickedness will fall on your own head. And we've seen that time and time again with things like the drug epidemic, pouring drugs in our neighborhoods. And coincidentally enough, it turns around and destroys their neighborhoods. You know what I mean? And so it's important to understand that, when a wicked nation of people are in rulership, everybody under that rulership is going to mourn. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Indian, the whole earth is going to feel it. You know what I mean? The book of Job says even the animals feel it. You know what I mean? The whole earth knows who the wicked is, because we're all punished by the things that he does. You understand? I had a video I had just sent you, Ahabawan. If you could pull that up on the screen, and then there's an article we'll get into, because I thought this was interesting. Actually, matter of fact, before we even get into those, Pull up the video on what happened to that white boy in Minneapolis, just to catch anybody up if
The
they
one that
don't.
was the nurse.
No, the white boy that was shot by or unalived by the ICE agents.
Yeah, I believe he was a nurse.
Oh, was he a nurse?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
A VA nurse. Oh, Kahar said he was a VA nurse. You got that mic over there? You go ahead and tell him.
Yeah, he worked at the VA as a nurse. And they even had a couple videos of him like doing the send-offs for the dead soldiers and stuff like that. So, it shows you how they treat, the people that help their military.
If I may, sir.
Go ahead.
Kahar. And the name of this class is what's the name of the class? Our oppressor is what?
Your oppressor is brutal and has always been.
So your oppressor is brutal and has always been. And what's so heavy about that title tonight, sir, is that when the oppressor has he does his work against our people, but when he can't get our people, he starts to go after other people, and eventually he will go after his own people because he is so bloodthirsty that he has to unalive something. And what's so heavy about what you were saying about the animals is that, think about this: what animals have gone extinct because our oppressor has hunted them to the end?
Yeah.
So you got to put koala bears. What's the use of unaliving a damn koala bear? Most of them, if you look it up, most koala bears got chlamydia because they urinate and they have they procreate out the same hole. Right. So majority of them already got a disease and they're dying off that way, but you have to go and speed up their death. Right. What other animals are the buffalo was almost extinct from the United States during the time of the Trail of Tears. Right. So he couldn't unalive enough Native American people. So what he did was he unalived their food and housing and heating source. Think about the use of the buffalo for the those so-called Native Americans.
Yeah.
Different uses they had. They used it to insulate their homes. They used it as jackets and coats and clothing. Right. You know what I'm saying? They used it for tents and housing. So knocked off, they went ahead and knocked off that source so they could go ahead and drag those people or our people to their deaths.
God. And it's funny because so many videos I'll see like videos of white people out in the middle of the ocean catching turtles and washing them up, pretending like they're saving the turtles. You know what I mean? Showing like they have so much love for and care for the animals, but yet in action, all these animals are going extinct. The whales, giraffe, the different cats, large cats and whatever, all these animals going extinct. And it's like by their actions, you truly see who they are. They'll go and hunt the lions for fun. They'll go hunt ivory tusks from elephants and whatever just for fun, just for games. You know what I mean? Which just again truly shows the nature of these people. It says in the book of Malachi, I believe it's chapter 1 and verse 4, that Esau is the border of wickedness. And what that means is when you cross into that land, when you cross that border and you enter into their territory, the Lord says you're entering into wickedness. You know what I mean? Like Revelation says, Babylon is a place of every foul spirit. This is where every known evil to man happens. And that's exactly what places like America, every European-run nation is like. It's just a place of wickedness. You know what I mean? So let's pull up that video, Car. I think you can jump to around 50 seconds, just to see what happened to this devil.
just been cleared by CNN, and it shows the lead up to this deadly altercation. This is what I want you to take a look at. Of course, this is disturbing video. Let's take some time though and watch this together. Some things to note. As it begins, you see Pretty out there in the middle of the street. He shows up right in this area here. You start seeing him, and he is at one point using his camera. There he is, right there, and he's pointing to traffic, sort of waving traffic through. At some moment here, you see that law enforcement approaches him, and he backs away as they start moving up on him. He is not trying to move toward them. He's backing away. Then you're going to see one of these officers approach a woman near him and really forcefully shove her to the ground right there. And Pretty starts rushing over toward her. Now, they're both getting pepper sprayed at this point. He gets grabbed, and he's taken over to the ground here. I'll point out this is about 15 seconds from when officers turned to him. He's now on the ground. They are on top of him. The officers are all around.
And pause that for a second, Ka'ar.
Oh, we got the same thought going, sir. Go ahead, please.
Because, one of the thoughts going through my mind as I'm seeing this is, just how comfortable these devils feel around police officers. You know what I mean? Like, they're sitting there as all this is going on, and in their minds, they're not expecting a police officer to pull a pistol out and end somebody's life. You know what I mean? And I see so many videos where, I see these white people that are just proud as hell, quote unquote, exerting their rights in front of police officers, not thinking that they're actually going to lose their life. Because in their minds, they believe this place belongs to them. That's why they do things like storm the Capitol.
Damn right.
You know what I mean? Like, they feel so safe in this kingdom. You know what I mean? When you think of Salakia.
If I may, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's so heavy is that you notice that he's alive right now, right? And they threw him to the ground. And you got about, 5, 6 officers surrounding him? He's alive right now.
Come.
They threw him to the ground, right? George Floyd was also alive before they threw him to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He was also alive before they threw him to the ground. Sandra Bland was alive before the police came. Think about these people were alive before the police came. Breonna Taylor was alive before the police came. Right? They said that police came with the guys who unalived Emmett Till. Police came with them.
Yeah.
And all this does is, and I'm not trying to jump ahead, but all this does is go right back to the slave patrol, sir.
Yeah.
The issue is that, these devils is finding out that this slave patrol is against them too.
God.
They're starting to see that.
God.
You got some, car? Oh. Yeah, so they have lived so comfortably in this country when it comes to the police and the military authority that you see our people got the hell on.
Mm-hmm.
Could you please point out a black person?
We've learned our lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Too many dogs and fire hoses and bottles and Molotov cocktails. It's been too many of that over. Too many lynchings, right? Too many issues like Red Summer.
Yeah.
Right. Too many issues like Tulsa, Oklahoma, Seneca Village, Rosewood. Too many of those incidents that have happened in the past, and our people was like, you know what? Let's get back while these oppressors deal with these devils.
God.
That's all I got, sir.
Yep, that's heavy. I'm gonna read one thing. These are, and I'm gonna read through these as we go throughout the class. This is one of an unknown fact of slave patrols. It was called legalized violence. Patrols had legal authority to whip, search, and seize property, including literature and tools, from enslaved people without needing to justify their actions in courts.
If I may, sir.
Go ahead.
Think about the abilities that police and ICE have now.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the same abilities that the slave patrol had?
Yeah.
If I could, if you could reread those the abilities that they had, and then compare them to today's police force.
Yep. They had legal authority to whip.
Ain't they whipping this guy ass?
To search.
To what?
Search.
If you read, go farther in the video, the guy had I think it was a legal CPL carrier, and they took his gun from him.
Right.
And you said to seize, right? They still got his gun.
Yeah, and to seize property.
And not only seize property, to seize his life. Right?
Yep.
They took his life.
Without a Habawan needing to justify their actions in court.
Have any ICE officers been arrested? Right? Then on top of that, sir, when the government of Minnesota said that he was going to have the police force to fight back, they said, I wish you would. You know, and you know what I wish you would mean in the hood.
Yep.
F around and find out.
Yep.
So one of these governments are going, one of these governors are going to test them. They're gonna F around, and we're gonna find out who has the more abilities, the police force in that state or ICE. Now, me personally, ICE has weaponry that I don't think the police force has. Think about it. ICE is federally funded. Right? The police receives some federal funds. Right? Trump can immediately say, all right, cool. We're going to cut your federal funding. Right? We're going to cut your funding to your weaponry, to your training, to all this. And guess what's going to happen? The police force will starve. Think about it. Just not too long ago, they were talking about defunding the police.
Yeah.
What is this? That's a federal fund.
Yep.
You want Card to play some more, sir?
Yep. Let's keep going.
Appear to have a weapon in his hand. He doesn't brandish anything. He doesn't seem to do anything. And then all of a sudden you see one agent in the middle there. Look, he turns away, and that's when the shooting began. One shot followed by, in our analysis, 9 other shots there. We heard from Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino. He was asked at what point Pretty brandished a weapon in all of this. This was his answer.
Ali, this situation again is evolving. This situation is under investigation. Those facts will come to light.
This is important because an important detail, because concealed carry is legal. We know from local officials Pretty had a permit.
He said concealed carry is legal, right? So they threw him to the ground the same way they did George Floyd, right? And then they unalived him with him having a concealed carry permit. Who does that sound like? Fernando Castillo.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, brother.
You see what I'm saying? Hey, you know what it sounds like to me, sir. It sounds like they're starting to treat their people the way they treat our people.
I was to that point when I had seen this. What went through my mind, Ahabawan, is think about what ICE was created to do. They're created to get rid of Hispanics and quote unquote illegal immigrants out the country.
If I may, sir, they were supposed, like you said, they were supposed to go get the bad guys, the illegals.
Right.
The illegals. Now understand, illegal is different from undocumented. Right? Undocumented, you can lose your birth certificate and you undocumented right now. Right? So the illegals, right? These are supposed to be the people who are committing crimes, right? These are the people who not just committing crimes, harming people, doing stuff like that. Those are the guys that Trump said he was going to get. Remember, he said he was going to get the bad hombres.
Right.
That was his words.
Right. And now
the bad hombres. So my thing is, if you're going to get the bad hombres, why are you showing up taking kids out of school? This is a 5-year-old that you're taking out of kindergarten, right? What has this kindergartner done in order for you to, have the ability to deport that 5-year-old, that 6-year-old? You're going to get anybody, because if you continue to look at what's going on, there are American citizens that they're detaining now, in these quote unquote concentration camps. Yes, sir.
God. Now think about this, Ahabon.
Yes, sir.
Now you have white people who are standing up and quote unquote getting in the way of ICE agents doing their job. And in the ICE agent's mind, they're like, we don't love or care about our own people enough more than the hatred we have for Hispanics. that's how my mind was perceiving it. You know what I mean? Because it's like you desire to get rid of these people so badly, you're willing to unalive your own brothers and sisters.
You know what, sir? You know what I think, if I may?
Okay.
I don't want our people to think that these oppressors and these devils are standing up for them, because they're not.
Right.
Understand is that if that was the case, they would have helped you out with some of their white privilege. They're not standing up for our people. What it is that these individuals that are being unalived, these white individuals that are being unalived, oppose the Trump administration. Right.
Sure.
And since they oppose the Trump administration, right, their direct connection to the Trump, their immediate connection to the Trump administration is ICE. So they're going to oppose ICE, because I'm explaining it to this. Let me explain this to you, black people. You are 13% of this nation, right? If with you being 13% of this nation, right, and whites are approximately what, 60%, right around 60 plus percent of this nation. That means that every one of you that marched in Selma, every one of you that supports, and I'm just throwing organizations out there, Black Lives Matter and the Black Panther organization, all these fake so-called organizations that's supposed to help you, every one of you that was in there, it should have been 4 of them, because you're outnumbered 1 to 4. Right? If they gave a crap about you, right, they would have outnumbered you in these so-called support groups, right? But they didn't. You know who they're trying to outnumber black folk in now? Fighting ICE. You know why? Because they want to fight against Trump.
Yeah, for sure.
They outnumber you that, because we sitting back eating popcorn now. We learned our lesson.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't holding up the what was that? Free Palestine sign. We not holding that up. We not holding up, stop bombing Israel, save Ukraine. We ain't holding up none of those signs now. We sitting back and watching. You know why? Let your enemy fight your enemy, and you sit back and watch.
Okay.
If I may, sir, I think a lot of what you're saying is like they starting to see that the government have to do, commit so much tyranny in order to, to go through with this, and they got to get rid of the our brothers, the Hispanic tribes, and they seeing that along with that they gonna get swept up in this eventually. You know what I mean? So really, they don't even care what they really doing. They just see the writing on the wall that they're going to use, this force that they willing. The government is going to use this eventually against them at some point.
You know why, right, Car? Because it's going to eventually turn against the rich, against the poor. Right. These are just fashions that are broken up so that they can deplete the smaller fashions. It's really just that rich devil against. He don't care about nobody else. Right now, he has his people already has a perpetual hatred towards us, and he's using that perpetual hatred to help destroy some of these these lower fashions.
Okay. Is there any more on that video?
There's a little bit more.
To carry a weapon. And law enforcement analysts here on CNN have raised questions as to why the picture of this gun that DHS shared online was shown on the seat of a car and not in the scene where Pretty was shot. And we now have an answer. CNN analysis shows, if you watch all those videos carefully, you see a federal agent right there who appears to be removing a gun. This is very critical to remember. That piece of video you're seeing right there is happening about a second or maybe slightly less than a second before the shooting begins.
Pause that, please, sir.
Okay.
So, if I may, sir.
Yeah, get it.
After you have disarmed an individual, right? After you have disarmed the individual, it is illegal to use deadly force. The individual is being subdued and disarmed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's it. He was disarmed.
Has been subdued and disarmed, right? Is he still a threat?
Yeah, that's wild as hell.
And if I may, this kind of what I'm saying. Like what they seeing now is that these people have no regard for the so-called Constitution that these devils, praise so much. They seeing that the fallacy this country was built on is being exposed, and they see that they're not as free as they thought they were, because government can use their power at any time, and that's what they're getting.
Con. Yeah, if I could end the car.
Oh, go ahead, sir. Salaki.
Con. And this is just keeping it on history. When you see historically, what the slave patrols were allowed to do, and you understand, why police, this whole police force was created in the first place. You understand that they just do, the will of the person that's running them. You know what I mean? And so if, let's just, for argument's sake, let's say Donald Trump is the puppet master, you know what I mean, behind this police force, they are going to execute whatever it is he wants. And it was just like back then in the slave patrols where the states would, form these quote unquote slave catchers and just hand them a uniform. You know what I mean? Just like you see with ICE, they get these green uniforms. You know what I mean? You make them look like some kind of organized agency. You give them some 6-month training, hand them a gun, some weapons, and you say, go and do X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? They are well above the law. You see it with Donald Trump. You can be a felon and still be president of the United States. You know what I mean? This place is not a law-abiding place. It is not a civilized society. You know what I mean? That word civil means to have law and order. You know what I mean? A place that abides by certain laws and standards. This place does none of that. Absolutely none of it. you'll swear on the Bible at a court. You know what I mean? Saying you're swearing before God to tell the whole truth and be some upstanding person. But meanwhile, you're just living filthy as hell.
If I may, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what's so heavy about what you just said? A couple of things. One is that perjury.
Mm-hmm.
Perjury is when you lie in court, right? When you're sworn to take an oath and you lie about your testimony.
Yeah.
First thing you have to do is they tell you to put your right hand on this Bible, and they don't believe anything inside the Bible.
Right.
Right. Think about it. They told you Jesus was white. Right. They told you. Okay, wait till that go past. They told you slaves obey your masters, and you will go to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Right. One thing I want to pull, I got an AI overview of slave patrol, sir, if I may.
Okay, go ahead.
So it says slave patrol originated in the British American colonies during the late 17th and early 18th century. Formerly started in the South Carolina in 1704 to manage, terrorize, and prevent rebellions among the growing enslaved population. Hear what it said, the growing enslaved population. These often considered the first district American police systems function as patrols to catch runaways, enforce curfews, and search for illicit gatherings.
If I may.
What that sound like today?
That is, and like it just said, that is the first police organization inside of America. It was slave catchers. You know what I mean? A lot of people, they might already know that history. For those that don't understand, this is the beginning of America's police force. You were saying something, Hawan?
The term paddy wagon developed from the term paddy roller. All right. And just like the paddy wagon, these were the vehicles that they used during that time to catch, the runaway slaves or, and throw them into the back of that paddy roller.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they would chain them inside the back of that paddy roller. What do? They chain you in the back of these paddy wagons.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's the same thing. It's the same concept. Right. It says the system of slave patrol was rooted in the need for the South colonies to maintain a strict social order, with many of their methods directly influencing the development of modern policing in the United States. Now, this is not what we're saying, right? This is documentation upon documentation. We pulled this information off the internet. And your sweet devil hands wrote this internet. And you said that the system of slave patrol was rooted in the need for the South colonies to maintain a strict social order, with many of their methods directly influencing the development of modern policing in the United States.
Okay. I was when I thought on this topic, I was originally, gonna show a quick video of college college professors in the States speaking on what these slave patrols were. Because a lot of times our people, they're not gonna believe it from us, but if they see a white college professor in a suit and tie, breaking down that these slave patrollers are the police today, you know what I mean, or the foundation for it. I knew people would be more inclined to believe it, but because of all the information that's coming out, this information isn't necessarily so new for everybody to hear. With everything that's happened, you see things like what happened to George Floyd, and people start looking more and more into police brutality, the internet's flooded with this information.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? This isn't hidden information. You know what I mean? The police force that you see today is without a shadow of a doubt, historically built off of racist ideologies.
If I may, sir.
I mean, Con, go ahead.
Would you like to hear the slave patroller's oath?
Con, yeah, let's get that.
It says, I, the patroller's name, do swear that I will search for guns, swords, and other weapons among the slaves in my district, faithfully and as privately as I can. Discharge the trust repose in me as the law directs, to the best of my power. So help me God. This is the North Carolina Slave Patrol's oath.
Now, Ka'ar, if you could pull up how much more a black man is likely to be carded over a white man. You know what I mean? Because what is their oath? Their oath is that they are going to search you. You know what I mean?
You know what that sounds like, sir?
What's that?
That's stop and frisk.
God, absolutely. That's exactly what that is. You know what I mean? Because this is exactly who they are. You know what I mean? And they'd love to present themselves to be as a nation that is no longer racist. A nation that it just had slavery in the past. You know what I mean? These things don't exist anymore. But yet we can see statistically, like I always find it interesting. Like, you would think that because this place is quote unquote progressing and getting better, that black people aren't being carded as much in 2025 versus 2010. And in 2010, it should have been better than the 2000s. And it should have been better than 1960s. When in fact, all these numbers just keep getting worse. These being stopped and frisked and carded and incarcerated. The incarceration of blacks, Hispanics is out the roof. You know what I mean? I think, man, you look at the statistics of the women incarcerated in Canada. I think the women's prison system, the entire population of women in prison in Canada, is something like 80% Indigenous women.
Damn.
And they make up like 5% of the entire country. It's absolutely ridiculous. The women's prison system was built for Indigenous women in Canada. The numbers are so disgusting. But
sounds like a reservation.
Yeah. Go ahead and read some of those numbers, Carr. I wanted to see what you pulled up.
Kind of say black men are disproportionately subjected to police stops, searches, and requests for identification. It says traffic stops. Data from specific jurisdiction shows stark differences. For example, in San Francisco, black drivers have been found to be 4.4 times more likely to be stopped by policemen than white drivers.
You're gonna get pulled over because you're black.
4.4 times more.
That number is low. I usually hear like 6 times, 7 times.
Damn right.
You know what I mean? But 4 times every. So what is that? Every 1 in 4 drivers.
So every 4 drivers that roll through, a black person gonna get pulled over.
Yeah.
Think about the different ethnicities that are in the United States, right? Mm-hmm. So we're 4 times more likely to get pulled over by the police, and this is what's that, black men, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's black men. Think about it. It didn't do black people in general because the numbers will go up higher than that. You understand? It's just said black men, right? Mm-hmm. Black men are 4 times more likely to get pulled over by the police than white. If I may, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
That brings me up to Kahar and myself. We went out the other night, right? We went out the other night, right? And as we're driving down Michigan Avenue, searching for a bar in Southwest Detroit, we was on a Latina search. But seriously, sir, we looking for a bar in Southwest Detroit.
Okay.
As we ran past some police officers, they had somebody pulled over, and another police officer was around the corner, just sitting in the middle of the street. As we ran past, the dude hit us with the flashlight. Hit us with the flashlight.
The bright light on
the bright one, yeah, which could cause it's dark. So with that brightness of the light, when he shined in your face, car was driving. He could have lost control of the vehicle.
Yep.
We're blessed that he's an excellent driver and the Lord was with us, right? Because think about it, it's been snowy all weekend.
Yeah.
So imagine if you shine a light, he do a little jerk, hit an ice patch. You never know. We parked in the building now.
Yep.
So after he shines the light on us, then we're driving past, and like, car, we just missed the block where we were supposed to turn down. So we're set up. You got to loop all the way back around to come back. These dudes followed for about 5 minutes. 4 turns. Well, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 turns. And then pulled us over. Right? After they pulled, because I know it was the one officer was white. What about the one on your side? Was he white too? Same thing. Oppressor. Oppressor, devil, one of them.
Yep.
Right. So when they put us over, you know, they asked for the credentials. Think about it. Both of us are CPL holders. Right. The first thing they want to know is, oh, y'all CPL holders, what a weapon's at?
Okay.
Right? Like, hold on. Think about it. If you're a CPL holder, it's a good chance that you're a law-abiding citizen. Right? That right there, if I was a police officer and I pulled over some gentlemen in the car and they say we got CPLs, all right, show me your CPLs. You hand out your CPLs. My level of anxiety go from here to here.
Yeah.
Because these guys right here, you know, of age, they CPL holders, right? So they haven't done any crimes that would prevent them or allow them to obtain a CPL. So what makes me think that they're going to do something now?
Yeah.
You know what makes you think that? The pure level of devil that runs through your bloodline. Right? The perpetual hatred that Esau has against his brother Jacob.
Yep.
That is what's going to have that guy think that, hey, these guys are going to do some crazy stuff. But like I said, the Lord was with us. We showed him our credentials and everything. And then he said something stupid. He asked Kahar where his weapon at. He says in the where was it at? Inside of the door. You know, so it was one in the door, one in the back seat, one in the trunk, you know. Said again.
I was gonna say something. Me and Shaiwan, he was with me, and we kind of got a crazier story. We did with the damn.
Yeah, let me finish up real quick. I want to hear that. But understand this, right? So, and then he says the wildest shit I ever heard. You got 2 officers, hands on guns. He says, well, don't reach for it. So understand the whole time I got my hands up like this. He say, you can put your hands down. Oh, hell no.
Right, yeah.
I put my hands down because you just told me not to reach for a gun.
Good night.
Over there. Nope, my hands are staying up right here until y'all want to leave.
Yeah, that's a scary situation. You know what I mean?
You're looking for somebody to unalive.
And that's, you know, I'll just say to that one thing, you know, this is why I thank the Most High for the UPK. You know what I mean? All jokes aside, because without the training, you know, of being in the UPK, you know, you may have put your hands down. You know what I mean? You would have been another statistic. You know what I mean? Just another brother getting shot because I told him not to reach. You know what I mean? And it's like they just looking for any reason, to take another brother's life. You know what I mean? Especially, shoot, it's late at night, it's dark. You know what I mean? They'll come up with any motherfucking story.
And if I may, sir, understand this is that with me being on the passenger side, I could have told him, like, I could have argued with him, right? Like, hey, I don't got to show you shit.
God.
Right? But what does the Bible say? When you have a with your enemy resolve it, what's that scripture?
It says, when you in the way of thy adversary, agree.
Yeah, when you in the way of thy adversary, agree.
God.
Right? Understand? Yep, whatever you want. Because I used to be that before the UPK. I used to be that nigga that's gonna argue with their ass.
God.
Right? I know my rights. Blam. And yep, you on the slab now.
Yep.
Yeah, put out scripture for me, please.
Matthew 5:25. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him.
Yes.
And it says quickly.
Quickly. And guess what I did? Give me. All right, I got you, sir.
You offered it, actually.
Huh?
You didn't even ask for it. You offered it.
No, I say, oh yeah, you know. As a matter of fact, when he came over there with the light and what's name, like, hold on, you got his, you want mine too? You want to know who I am? I'll let you know who I am.
Yeah, that's heavy.
All right.
I mean, I was gonna say, yeah, me and Shaiwan run in with the at the border. You know what I mean? We was at the border. We had got pulled because Shaiwan didn't have his passport.
How you get over here?
The Lord is with me.
How you get over here?
And they let him out of Canada with it.
Yes.
He came across
without it.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, America don't even be tripping. They let him in, no problem. But the Canadians, where he from, was giving him problems.
You know, it's always harder to get to Canada than it is to get back.
So
Good.
It was crazy, but man, it was the time we had camp in Toronto, and it was late at night, and I was taking the brother home, and so we got pulled over, and they went to go search the vehicle, and I took everything out. You know what I mean? Because usually I got my guns. Took everything.
Yeah, when you cross the border, you can't. Hey, look, black folk, don't take them guns across them borders. Don't do that at all.
And make sure you got magazines out of there too, because I left a magazine in my car.
I've done that before. That's why. And when you run through that scanner, I think they can see it, and that's why they pulled you over to the side.
Well, I don't know, maybe, but when they found it, you know what I mean? It was every question imaginable, like, and it just looked so bad. And I just got the car, so I had a license plate for my old car in the trunk. So they going through the trunk and they seeing license plates in the trunk. I'm like, why you got license plate? I just got this car and I just threw the license plate back there, not thinking about it. So they just asking every question. They took the scanner out. They scanning every inch of the car, trying to see through the seats, the X-ray scanner. So they like, for sure, we got a magazine. We is gonna find something else. You know what I mean? So that was crazy in itself.
You know what it is? Be ye perfect, for your Father in heaven is perfect. We have to be perfect at everything, right? Even when we're going through school, even when we're going out at night, we have to be perfect at all things, because one is we are the litmus test. And with being a litmus test, if you look in engineering, we call it the master. If we are the master, right? If your master is off, everything you test behind it is off, right? So we have to understand that we are held, and the law does it too. It holds us to a higher standard. That's why we'll get 50 years for a gram of dope, and the white man will get a smack on the wrist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, that's heavy. Like we always say we keep the law in here.
Yeah, right.
We obey Esau's laws. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean I have to go get a marriage certificate. It's not unlawful to have sex with 10 different women, so I'm gonna do that.
Hey, guess what?
I mean? But
he don't get a marriage certificate.
Mm-hmm.
He Think about it. Your president got 3 baby mamas. Your president got 3 baby mamas and 34 felonies.
God. There's an article kind of on this. We're going over some statistics. Do you see an article from the Lancet?
While he's looking for that, sir, I want to read 2 more paragraphs of this.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
It says slave patrol continued until the end of the Civil War and the passage of the 13th Amendment following the Civil War. Think about this. People say the Civil War was because the North was against the South and all this. No, the Civil War broke out amongst devils. Think about it. The Civil War broke out amongst devils because you wanted to be free. That was the only issue that they had. Your ass, your black self was the only issue that caused devils to go up against white folk. And then, let me say this, devils to go up against oppressors. Right? The Civil War. Right? It says, during Reconstruction, following the Civil War, during Reconstruction, slave patrols were replaced by militia-style groups who were empowered to control and deny access to equal rights to freed slaves. They relentlessly and systematically enforced black codes, strict local and state laws that regulated and restricted access to labor, wages, voting rights, and general freedoms and for formerly enslaved people. In 1868, ratification of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution technically granted, you heard what it said, technically granted equal protections to African Americans. Technically granted. Establishing and abolishing black codes. Initially abolishing black codes. Jim Crow laws and state and local statutes that legalized racism and segregation swiftly took their places. Jim Crow, black codes, same thing. Right? They still lynching us. They're still not allowing us to have freedoms as a so-called American, right? So it never changed, it just changed names. Because by the 1900s, local municipalities began to establish police departments to enforce local laws in the East and Midwest, including Jim Crow laws. Local municipalities leaned on police to enforce and exert excessive brutality on African Americans who violated any Jim Crow laws. Jim Crow laws continued through the end of the 1960s.
Yep. Something something you said in there that was heavy, Habawan. It's also understanding, because you had said like this still goes on today, understanding like what a lynch mob was. I'm going to read the definition. It says, it is most often used to characterize informal public executions by a mob in order to punish an alleged or convicted transgressor or to intimidate others. So, these people were quote unquote going around lynching people because, you committed a crime. You know what I mean? You did something that was against their laws. You can't be a black man and sleep with a white woman during a time that's such a large offense, they're gonna get a lynch mob and show these black people, to get themselves in order. So that's what these lynch mobs were. You're going around lynching convicted transgressors.
No, alleged,
right? Which is saying, like, how does that translate today?
If I may.
Well, go ahead, Alvin.
You guilty until proven innocent.
Right. That's exactly it. You know what I mean? And if you guilty, then we have the right to unalive you. You know what I mean?
Now, what's so heavy about that, sir?
God.
Is that the Bible says that the wages of sin is death.
That's right.
Right. What is sin? Sin is transgression of the law.
God.
Right. So your oppressor will carry out the law against your ass.
Yep, damn right.
He will carry out the law against you. It's not that, see, black folk understand this. Blacks, Native Americans, Hispanic, our people, any of those individuals that come from these 12 tribes, understand this. Understand this is that the law, if you look at it, technically, with the Bible saying that the wages of sin is death, anytime you go against the law, you could concur the death penalty, right? Sleep with another man's wife, you steal, you kill, you do some of these things that are against the law, right? You don't obey the Sabbath, you these things are death penalties. If you think about it, going against the law, with the Bible saying the wages of sin is death.
Yeah.
Knowing that sin is transgression of the law. So understand, transgressing the law, you couldn't concur death.
That's right.
With that being said, is that when the oppressor unalives you for disobeying the simplest law, he believes he's carrying out biblical justice, right? That's that Christianity in him. He believes he's carrying out biblical justice.
Okay.
Because the Bible says the wages of sin is death. He committed a sin. So guess what? You're not one of his people, so he must unalive you.
Yeah.
Right? So his bloodlust kicks in and be like, oh, wages of sin is death. He committed a sin. It's time for him to die, to be unalived. But you said, hold on. This is a 5-year-old. He stole a candy bar. If I'd have known that he picked the candy bar up, I'd have paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Think about this. The first black man that was unalived by the electric chair, well, the youngest, was George Stinney? Right. He was accused of unaliving 2 little devil girls at 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
George Stinney. He was accused. Pull that picture right there, that little young boy, the one in color. You see that one right there in color? Blow that one up. Right, understand he was too small to fit in the chair. And guess what? He committed a sin. He was convicted of committing a sin, and then he was put to death. Go ahead. Sir.
They set him on a stack of Bibles.
On a That's how wicked the devil is. He could have put telephone books under this. He could have put any book out the library. But you see what he is? Because he has to be brutal towards you.
Yeah.
He has to be brutal towards you. That's the only train of thought he has is I must be brutal towards you. Look at these Karens nowadays. You could be outside bird watching, right? Understand is that if you're outside bird watching, there was a black man in Central Park, right? Which I call Seneca Village. It's a black man in Central Park bird watching. He's out there bird watching, and then it's a oppressor woman. She sees him bird watching. She has a little dog with her. She calls 911. Do you got that video? If you can find that, that'd be great. She calls 911. She's damn near strangling the dog because she's trying to get him to basically stop bird watching. Like her word is any type of authority.
God.
Yeah, she's trying to get him to stop bird watching. How dare you? And then she calls the police on him. Amy, yes, sir. That's her. Hey, look what she doing to the dog. Damn shame what she did to that dog.
Sir, I'm asking you to stop. Please don't come close to me.
When this video of Amy Cooper calling 911 went viral
in that up on the screen.
African American man.
Hold on, pause it right there before we get into it. Understand, is this right here? Is this man is
Cooper calling
911 is so-called threatening her life. Go ahead.
Stop. Sir, I'm asking you to stop. Please don't come close to me.
Oh, I saw this.
Of Amy Cooper calling 911 went viral in May.
There is an African American man. I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog.
It fueled already heightened racial tensions in the U.S. and would end with Cooper losing her job and facing charges herself.
I'm being threatened by a man in the Ramble. Please send the cops immediately.
This morning, prosecutors say Cooper actually called 911 twice, the second time falsely claiming she was assaulted. A detail disclosed for the first time in a Manhattan courtroom Wednesday, where Cooper was formally charged with one misdemeanor count of falsely reporting an incident.
You care about birds right there. Why did not Peter kick her ass? She was choking the hell out of that dog.
Lucky they did get on her.
Yeah.
The white people was on that dog.
Yes, they own her because of the dog, not because of the nigga. Hey, we locking you up, white woman, for choking that damn dog.
Yeah.
Right? But hold on, wait. She's choking the hell out of the dog. Mike Vick went to jail because some people was fighting dogs in his house. You see that? And then he did. What did Mike Vick do? 5 years? Lost millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. You see that? When we do the same, when we do something similar to what they do, our justice is quick.
Yeah.
It's fierce. This is their heaven. But the tide shall turn, according to Revelations. What you saying, sir?
No, that's heavy what you bringing up. You know what I mean?
But look what she could do. She called the slave patrol on him, right? Yeah. Why did she call the slave patrol on him?
Because in her mind, they're gonna come kill this Negro.
They gonna come kill this nigga. I'm a white damsel in distress. Sound like Rosewood. It was a nigga.
Yeah.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know how Tulsa, Oklahoma riots claim that it started?
Yeah, look over that white woman.
It was a white girl running the elevator. The elevator. And the elevator, you know, they used to jump back in the day. And when it jumped, a black man fell towards her. And he was immediately accused of trying to SA this young white damsel in distress.
God.
And they went and wiped out the richest city in the city with the largest bank in America.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about your dollars. They don't give a damn about your dollars. They know that if another way to oppress you is to keep you from bringing your dollars together. So as long as we can't bring our dollars together, as long as we don't come together, old nation that's not desired, right? Financially, if we don't come together financially, they understand like, okay, we got more money than them, right? The Bible says two things about money. Money makes a great defense, and two, money answers all things. Black folk, we got to bring that money together.
Yep.
It ain't gonna be worth nothing in America in a minute anyway. That petrodollar falling. FYI, gold is over $5,000 an ounce.
Grab that grab that article for me, Car. Jump down to the introduction. Down. Yep, where it says introduction. Yep.
Kind of says the global burden of diseases, injuries, and risk factors study in 2019 found that police conflict and executions 293,000 global deaths. It says 95% uncertainty interval.
With a 95% uncertainty interval? We don't kill more niggas than what we say we kill.
We're going to get to that.
And it said from 1980 to 2019.
Yeah.
2019, the U.S. accounted for 13.2% of the 8,770 global deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Says due to police conflict, while only accounting for 4% of the global population.
Right. So basically, in layman's terms, most of the police deaths are happening in America. Okay, keep going.
Says police conflict and executions was the estimated cause of death for 1,150 deaths in the USA. The burden of the police violent fatalities in the USA is known to fall disproportionately on Black, Indigenous, and Hispanic populations.
Sound like 12 tribes to me.
That's the 12 tribes of Israel. You know, something Capizani has said to me, you know, that has always rang true. When you look up statistics, you will always see Black, Hispanic, and Indigenous. Black, Hispanic, and Indigenous. You're going to see it over and over. And it's for that reason that Ahabawan was saying, you know what I mean? Like it says in Psalms 146, the statutes, the laws, statutes, and commandments were given to Jacob. And the Lord has not dealt so with any other nation. Like we feel the brunt of these judgments.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When we disobey the Most High, we are punished for it. Bible says you can't lay with a woman outside your race. You can't sleep with cave Becky. That is unlawful. The wages of sin are death. Something bad is going to happen to you. You know what I mean? When you go against the Most High. You know what I mean? And we see time and time again us being at the top of these statistics. Like you got the majority of us in North and South Central America, and it just so happens that this is where the majority of police brutality is happening. This is the majority of where Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous are being unalived by police. It's all us, right? Keep reading, Carr.
Khan out of Wakan, it says recent studies suggest that over the life course, about 1 in every 1,000 Black men are killed by the police in the USA.
Yeah, keep going.
Khan says making them 2 to 5 times more likely to be killed by police than white men.
So even though you make up like a small percentage of the U.S., and these stats are the same everywhere you go. You know what I mean? You make up the smallest part of the population, but you're still the most unalived by police. You know what I mean? You're still more likely to be unalived by a police officer. You know what I mean? And all that means is you just walking while Black. You walking while Hispanic. Imagine that. Just because of the race, just because of your ethnicity, you are more likely to be shot by a police officer. Right? Keep reading, Carr.
Kind of Wakanda says Black women are about 1.4 times more likely to be killed by police than are white women.
You're not safe either, Black woman. You know what I mean? How many times we see Black sisters being unalived? How many times we see Indigenous sisters being unalived? Hispanic sisters being unalived? It happens over and over again.
We just get killed in her house. Remember?
Wow. Yep.
Think about it. What's her name down? What's that?
Sonia Massey.
Sonia Massey was killed in her house after calling for help. Breonna Taylor was killed in her house and she was asleep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. These stories are always the same. Well, she that woman had some mental health issues. We didn't feel safe when we got to her house.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't feel safe when we entered into her house. So that's reason to take her life. You know what I mean? How is it that you get called for help? You know what I mean? And you end up unaliving this person. It's insanity to me. Right? Keep going, Carl.
Khan out of Khan. It says systematic and direct racism manifested in laws and policies, as well as personal implicit biases, result in Black, Indigenous, and Hispanic Americans being the target of police violence.
Now, what would be, systemic? What? How did they say that? Systemic policy.
Systemic and direct racism.
Systemic and direct racism. You know what I mean? It directly comes up because of what this police force was made to do.
If I may, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Institutional racism, also systemic racism, is a form of institutional discrimination based upon the person's race or ethnic group, which is realized with policies and administrative practices throughout an organization and a society that gives unfair advantages to an ethnic group and unfair or harmful treatment to another group.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
God. And I was thinking too, like Christ said, "You shall know them by their fruits."
Damn right.
So, how long has the police force been here in America? And these statistics have stayed the same, if not get worse over time. So it's like you clearly see at its root, there's something that's off. You know what I mean? In its inception, there's something that's off. And what is the inception of the police force? It's, these slave patrols. That's what they were created to do. So why else are you gonna get a different result? You know what I mean? That's why you have to tear down the entire system. You know what I mean? We pray for the destruction of the armies. We pray for the destruction of the Navy and the SEALs. You know what I mean? This infrastructure has to be destroyed because it's rooted in the hatred of Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous. Keep reading. Oh, go ahead.
So I looked up the definition of insane. It says, as an adjective, in a state of mind which prevents normal perception, behaviors, or social interaction, seriously mental ill.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you see what's going on, but think about it. You see and you know what's going on, but you don't believe it's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You see this government unaliving you. You see these officers, right? You see the Bible says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but for principalities from among high, right? You see these principalities from among high with the slave patrol and the ICE and all that, but you don't believe it, right? You see the differentiation between suburban schools and inner city schools, right? You see the disparity, right, between those schools. You force these kids to go to school, but yet still you don't provide them something to eat in these schools. They got to pay for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But in these suburban schools, they get free lunch. And these people making way more money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You see it and you can't believe it's going on.
God.
Got something? You good? Okay.
You could pull up that other video, Car. on let me see what it was called.
If I may, sir, I want to see some more ass get whooped. I want to see them. I want to see them beat themselves up again.
Pull up the police violence against Latinos. There's a YouTube video. And started at what's that minute? Started at 3:30, 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Mm.
You know, because Ahabawan also pulled up a point. You know, in what we were reading. You know, these were just saying these are the quote unquote alleged or supposed numbers. You know what I mean? Because what we've also come to find out is that you would think that these numbers are just, oh, you're 4 times to be pulled over by a black man, because you're black over a white man. These numbers are not true at all. You know what I mean?
I don't think you sent me that, sir.
What's that?
You got it, sir? I don't think you. Could you please resend it? I don't think I have that one.
Police violence against Latinos.
Yeah, please resend that, sir. Is that the one where they arrested 2 U.S. citizens, the Latino brothers that was in the?
No lie, I just sent it to you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got some more check-ins. Shalom, Maria, and Princess Noah, and Sister Kalaya Yaquar. All right.
Data.
For water for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe.
And ask your questions. We like questions.
Yeah, jump to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, Car, in that video.
Just in broad strokes, what is the database? What's the work that they're doing? And what's a little bit of what we're going to see?
So the Rasa Database Project is a project dedicated to mapping and re-identifying individuals who have been misidentified in fatal police encounters, specifically those of Latino descent. Latinos are the second most likely demographic to be killed in fatal law enforcement encounters, but they're the most likely community to be misidentified, again, whether that is as white or as unidentified, and it skews the community's numbers. It makes it seem like this is an issue that is not really affecting Latinos, when in fact, they're the second most likely demographic to suffer at the hands of this. The database combed through 2 decades worth of data from the year 2000 to 2022, and they estimate that at least 6,500 Latino people have been killed by police since then.
And is this countrywide, statewide? What?
So think of all the people that, you know, we've spoke on in the news, or we've done classes on, you know what I mean, of people being unalived by police. They did a study, you know what I mean, and they found out that within a matter of how many years was that?
2022, I think.
So in a matter of 20 years, there's about 6,500 Hispanic brothers and sisters that were murdered by police that we didn't know about, because they misidentified them as being white. You know what I mean? Like that number is, to me, is insane. You know what I mean? Because we always think on all the people that have been unalived by police officers, and so many of our brothers and sisters are just being misidentified. You know what I mean? Like, I can't remember if Marshall did a class on that, or if he was just bringing out some, information on the way that they identify, Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous in this country. And, you can easily be misidentified. You know what I mean? When they're putting your name inside of a system. You know what I mean? I can't remember all the different names or identifications that they have, but you know, these crimes are being committed against us, and it's not going reported. You know what I mean? It's not going reported just because they're misidentifying us. You know what I mean? That's a sad thing to think about. You know what I mean? But those numbers that they always show, these numbers aren't true. You know what I mean? Lord knows how many times we're being carded and nothing gets recorded down. How many times we be stopped and frisked, nothing's being recorded. Did they record that, you know, that the police pulled you two over? That what was it, yesterday you guys said? Yesterday night?
That was what, Saturday? Friday? Thursday. Yeah, Thursday.
Did they record that they pulled over, you know, two black men inside of a car?
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
So like
You know what I mean?
They
Yeah, go ahead.
Stop. Their reason for the stop was BS to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Con.
So they said the tail light was out.
Con. Isn't that what they always say?
No, we don't.
That's in every classic movie. I barely watch movies, but every time I see a movie with a black man being pulled over, it's his tail light.
It's his tail light out. So they couldn't pull him over for speeding. Couldn't pull him over for no other infractions, running red lights, stop signs, any other infractions that you have on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Your tail light out.
Mm-hmm.
I got pulled over one time. They said that the light over my license plate was out. You got these bright lights shining them on the back of my car. You should be able to see my license plates. Go back there and check it. License plate light is working perfectly.
Yeah. And you know, you had brought up earlier, Habawan, you know, the origins of that name Paddy Wagon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're a patroller. That's what you do. You patrol a neighborhood.
They're in a patrol vehicle.
You know what I mean? You're here to just watch over the slaves. You're here to keep the slaves in line. That's what the slave catchers were doing. They go to your neighborhood and they watch you. Why do you think that you're always being incarcerated? What's that number? How many times we're found not guilty?
It was like 87%. Oh, you talking about that was released?
Yeah, it's something about our conviction rate. You know, they're getting all these convictions and they're finding we're always not guilty. The amount of us being released.
Overturned convictions?
Gone. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, we get patrolled, we get watched, and because of it, we get, you know, we're getting brought to the jail cell. You know what I mean? Because they're just watching us. They're here to look after what it is that we're doing. Meanwhile, you know what we had brought up last week. I don't know if that was last week or the week before. What was that guy, that white boy's name? Ryan Wedding. You know,
yeah, Ryan, big boy,
biggest drug dealer on earth.
The American government has a $15 million bounty on this dude. I got a price on my head.
Right.
A $15 million price on their head.
So why aren't they policing the Canadian Olympics?
Yeah.
I mean, all those white snowboarders, they should be watched.
Every single one.
What do you got there, Carr?
That's it says this is the amount of exonerations that black people. It says black people are vastly overrepresented in the U.S. exonerations, comprising over 50% of the more than 3,600 recorded exonerations since 1989.
Damn.
Being 13 to 14% of the population.
And that's exactly, before you even brought that up, I was thinking, you know, we only make up 10% of the population, but you're telling me over 50% of the exonerations are black people?
Read that next. Say black people in America, black Americans.
It says as of 2022, black Americans were 7 times more likely to be falsely convicted of serious crimes and 7.5 times more likely to be convicted of murder.
Now, understand this: with black people being falsely convicted of murder more than 7.5 times, that means that somebody else committed these murders. That means that you have locked up a black person, and there's a good chance that a black person didn't commit that murder, commit that murder. Right? So if you falsely convict an innocent man, the actual unaliver, the criminal, is still walking this earth free. You know what that reminds me of, sir? The Rosewood. Think about this. Even in the movie Rosewood, they knew that she was the white woman that was that said that she was SA'd by the brother. The whole community knew she was a hoe. Right? They knew she was a hoe. And then at the end of the movie, after they had unallowed all these brothers and sisters, they say like, man, you know your wife a hoe.
Damn.
Right? You know, they don't went through and unalive all these brothers and sisters for a hoe. Pale face hoe.
And you know, I got to put a class together on this because there's a story of a lot of 12 and 13-year-old boys from the cities inside Canada, like inside Toronto, and they're going as far as like 20 hours up north in the trap houses to sell drugs, and winding up committing a lot of the murders inside Canada. You know what I mean? That they have this what they would call like an epidemic of 12 and 13-year-old black boys unaliving people in Canada over different drug disputes or whatever. And people keep asking, like, where are the adults that are giving these 12 and 13-year-old boys, all these drugs and all these weapons?
If I may ask a question, sir.
Yep, go ahead.
How are the firearm laws in Canada? Right, because down here is you over 18. Depending on what state you're in, you can get a firearm. You got to be 21 to buy bullets. Right. So if you can, and understand this, you got 18-year-old buying guns, 20-year-old buying guns, and they may give it to their 13, 14-year-old nephew, whatever,
right,
cousin, little homie, right? But I thought Canada was a place where the gun laws were much tighter and much stricter than the American gun laws.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot tighter and a lot stricter. You can get shoot, I'm not even sure what's legal right now. I think you can get a pistol after you get some licensing. But it's a lot more rare to see a lot of guns in Canada. What most of the gangs are using now in Canada are what they call ghost guns.
3D print.
Yeah, that's really big in Canada right now.
But with 3D print, you only can use them a few times. They overheat and stuff like that, depending on what type of firearm you're using.
Okay.
It's plastic.
Okay.
Or some type of poly material that is really, when it comes to heat, it doesn't hold up too much.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I hear they're using. Yeah, I mean, but again, it speaks to just the numbers. You know what I mean? What are the numbers truly of how much we commit crime? You'll come to find out we are not the criminals. I mean, think about that. That number is insanity. Over 50% of exonerations.
So like you, sir.
Come on, go ahead.
I pulled up the racial demographics of Canadian prisons. And it says key findings in this AI overview. It says overrepresentation. Indigenous adults are nearly 9 times more likely to be incarcerated than non-indigenous adults.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it says indigenous people represent 29 of the federal offender population, with up to 49% of federal incarcerated women being indigenous.
There you go. That's what that number was. 49%. Look up the population of indigenous women. The percentage of indigenous women in Canada. I knew the number was something insane. It said 49%. What did I say? I said like 80% or something. You know what I mean? But that it says 50%. Could you imagine that, a hobble? 50%.
That means that every other woman in Canada, indigenous woman in Canada, is in a federal institution.
Okay.
And it says, according to the 2021 census, approximately 860,265 indigenous women and girls live in Canada, representing about 4.9% of the total female population.
Now, what? 4.9%. You got to think about that number too. If there's what 800, what did I say? 800,000.
God.
So you probably have like 600,000, who are actually women.
Yeah, you know.
You know what I mean? Who can actually go to these prisons? And you mean to tell me that every second woman in the prison is indigenous?
God, that's crazy.
Like, I don't know if anybody could really fathom that number. You know what I mean? I don't talk about this, these statistics enough. And again, even think about this, like we're just reading. Think of how many of these women are misidentified as being white.
Yeah, it's all new to us. Because you got to understand, this is that there's probably a good 15 to 20% of these women that are locked up, and they're misidentified.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the 9 times out of 10, it's a higher statistic than what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm. And don't just let me add another thing.
Uh-oh.
That's just indigenous.
Yes.
What about Hispanic and black women?
So if 50% of the women in prison are indigenous, right? So that means that our people makes up, anywhere between 70 to 80% of the individuals in jail of the women population.
We make up the whole jail.
We already know that we make up 90% of the population in prisons over here in America.
Mm.
Well, I'm exaggerating. It's probably like 89.
So like, I think with both black and Hispanic, I think it's about 60. So.
About 60%. Okay, it's still over half. And with blacks and Americans, we don't make up. With blacks and Mexicans, don't make up 50% of the population in the United States.
God. Like these numbers follow us all over the world. You know what I mean? Don't matter if we're in the UK, Canada, South America, North America, wherever it is. You know what I mean? This is what we have to look forward to. You know what I mean? This is a problem inside of our community. You know what I mean? This is something, that we really need to be aware of. You know what I mean? Think of all the causes of why we go to these jails. You know what I mean? Like General Yohana was bringing out, being a gang member just because you're raised by a single woman.
Mm-hmm.
These are issues that we have to solve. You know what I mean? These are real issues, that we got to solve for our community, because this is real hell. You know what I mean? This is absolute hell. You're gonna get pulled over. You're gonna get stopped by the police. This is all of our stories. You know what I mean? You can go back to thinking as a child, the first time a police officer threw you on the hood of a car. You know what I mean? We've all been through it. You know what I mean? And it goes back to, you know, again, how this place was founded. You know what I mean? These slave patrols are real. You know what I mean? They are very real. And that's a part of the hell that we live in. You're gonna say something, Harbor?
I say I was what, 16 the first time I got slammed against the hood of a car. You know,
I think I was like 12 or 13.
I had license. I got pulled over, picking my brother up from basketball practice. Right, picking my brother up from basketball practice. Right, we get pulled over. They said it was a shooting in the area. Snatches out the car, slams up against the car. Like, now understand, when they pull you out the car, they handcuff you immediately. Right, so they handcuff me and my younger brother. Remember, I'm the oldest. So if I'm 16 at the time, he's either 15 or turning 15. Right, so they grab us out the car, slam us up against, handcuffs and slam us up against the car, search the car. What you looking for? Right, you got two kids in their parents' car. You ask for the license, registration, proof of insurance. You got all that. I had an officer tell me, you look too young to be driving. Not according to these licenses. They said you could get them at 16.
Hey, pull up a good time to pull up that video, on the brother from Target. Yeah, I mean, see what these ICE agents did to a little child. Yeah, pull up that video. I'll be back in 1 second. Salaki.
Something I can Garcia. I'm not a U.S. citizen. I'm not a U.S. citizen. Get the fuck out of here.
Why are you kidnapping our citizens? Why are you?
This guy right here, they let him out of the vehicle. They tortured him. This guy right here, yeah. You okay, man?
No, I'm not okay.
No, it's crazy. My man's bleeding.
They slammed me on the ground.
We gotta be able to call somebody. This is ridiculous. You got family around? You got somebody here, man?
I think my daughter.
Come on, we in here. Come on, man. You work here, don't you?
No, I work at Target.
You work, bro. Come on, bro. It's okay. You guys are so crazy. Man, slam this man up in the parking lot. Torture this guy.
You know what? It doesn't say how old that brother was.
Yeah, he was 17, they said.
17 years old, right? Think about how traumatic of an experience it is. They already try to tell you when you're 18, you're grown, but your brain still develops till you're the age of 24, right? Right, and that's scientifically, right? So understand, this brother, 17 years old, working at Target. So guess what he's doing? He's not climbing in your goddamn windows. He's not carjacking you, right? He's not stealing. He's not robbing. He's trying to continue to be a law-abiding citizen. He's trying to make money for whatever reason he may have. Think about it, he's 17, so 17 years old, he might be about to graduate from high school or something like that. He got senior dues and all that kind of stuff. Graduation coming up, saving for college. Whatever he's doing is lawful, right? And ICE, remember what you said at the beginning, where we was talking about ICE is able to just say that again?
Yeah, I can read that.
Read that, please. Look what ICE just done to the 17-year-old.
It was the legalized violence.
Legalized violence. Think about this. And he said it must be somebody we can call. Right? Think about what it said at the end of Deuteronomy 28:68. No man shall buy you. Ain't nobody gonna save you. Can't nobody help you. Right? They couldn't do nothing to help this 17-year-old boy, but stand back and watch them get beat up and slammed by these individuals that's protected because their ICE representatives.
God. Some cowards covering their face.
They got,
You know what I mean?
you know who else covered their face? The KKK.
God.
You know why? Because I heard an ICE agent say that he has a high school diploma and he's making $200,000 a year as an ICE agent.
Dang.
If I may, sir, I got a
Please.
I got a scripture in Lamentations 4:18.
Yep, that's where I was gonna go. Start at 17.
17, it says, as for us,
our
eyes as yet failed for our vain help.
Think about it. Our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. We're not getting any help. The help that's supposed to come from our leadership, right? When I say our leadership, look who's supposed to be our leaders. I'll say Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, right? Even Barack Obama. These were supposed to be our leaders. Barack Obama ain't even one of us. He's supposed to be our leader, right? What's her name? Kamala Harris, right? Judge Joe Brown called her that. I only call her what Judge Joe Brown called her.
Okay.
Right? He said she climbed right on her way to the top. That's what Judge Joe Brown said, you know. And I figure since he a judge and America likes this justice system, we could quote a judge.
Yeah.
Right? So think about all this stuff that is going on. None of our leaderships has assisted us in getting out of this hell, right? I still can slam a person up against the ground with no just cause. It snatched him out of, was he working?
Yeah, he was working.
He was at work.
Yeah.
You at work, and they snatched you from your job. So 9 times out of 10, he's 17. So what is he doing at Target? Pushing in carts, bagging groceries, whatever, bagging stuff up, right? You know, they probably ain't got him on the cash register because he one of us.
Working while Mexican, oh boy.
Working while Mexican. WWM.
Yep.
And then you gonna get a bracelet that say WW. What did it say? WWJ. What would Jesus do?
What would Jesus do?
WWJD. We're gonna see what Jesus do when he returns. He's gonna crack this guy. He's gonna kick some ass. A lot of ass. It said that he's gonna do so much unaliving that his clothing is gonna look like it was dipped in blood. The vesture dipped in blood. His clothing is gonna look like they dipped it in blood. Right? He's gonna start with those who pierced his side. Right? I'm gonna start with these folks first. You got something?
Pull up, just for time's sake, pull up the article from Time. I wanted to get into the Texas Rangers a little bit, but we just read the introduction, you know, because these are other, again, organized groups, that terrorized our people.
Sir, can you send it to production?
You got to send it, sir.
Okay.
Well, I thought of something. I thought what was heavy about that video, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that at the end there, you got a brother there, and the empathy hearing that brother voice for what he just went through. That's what's going, like the oppression that's coming down. The after effects and that oppression, that empathy is what's going to bring us back together. And that's what the Lord is doing.
Damn right.
And I just thought that was so heavy, just hearing that brother. That brother, he wanted to cry for him.
He wanted to cry for him. He did. Look, that's why I got my glasses on. You can't see the tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
My eyes got watery when you see this brother. Think about it. He said he wasn't doing nothing but working, man. And how I can empathize with the brother, because think about this. I remember backing on my driveway, driving to school and get pulled over by the police. Right? Yeah. As soon as I got out my driveway, they pulled me over. Why are you pulling me over and I'm backing out the driveway? I ain't breaking no speed limits. You know what he asked me? It's 6:30 in the morning. Where the hell you going? To school.
Yeah.
To school. It's 6:30 in the morning.
God.
Hey, sir, real quick.
Yep.
Hey, the Texas Rangers are a legendary statewide law enforcement agency unofficially formed in 1823 by Stephen F. Austin and formally constituted in 1835. They evolved from a volunteer militia protecting the frontier into the primary investigative arm of the modern Texas Department of Safety. Their history is complex narrative of bravery and effectiveness in bringing law and order to the frontier, but also includes a controversial past involving violence and racial bias against Native Americans and Mexican communities.
God, that's a perfect understanding. There was if you go and you look up the history of these slave patrols, you see them being formed by the state. The state wanting to enforce and keep their slaves in line.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And in wanting to keep their slaves in line, some states they would have given uniforms to the slave catchers, the slave patrols. Some states maybe they weren't so organized. Other states would have looked at what other states were doing and said, "Oh, those are good ideas." You know what I mean? And they armed these slave patrols, and they did it, with with an agenda in mind to keep the slaves in order, to keep blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous in their place. So you couldn't just walk out on the street as a slave and not be questioned about where you're going and what you're doing. You know what I mean? You don't have freedom inside of America to be able to just do what you want. What did that officer ask you, Ahabawan? Where are you going at 6:30 in the morning?
Yes, sir.
Like you would want to think rationally. Why the fuck are you asking me that question? I can do what I want. You know what I mean? Who cares where I'm going? And this is how you see black men get shot. Because you believe you're free. You believe that you have rights, that you have the right to stand up for yourself. Look at that the 17-year-old brother. He's yelling out, "I'm a US citizen." As if that gives you the right not to get your ass beat by a police officer. It doesn't.
You know what, sir? What I think even if he would have complied, they would have still whooped his ass.
Yeah.
Because that's what they were there for.
Come on.
We're here to whoop some ass. Yeah, we know you're a U.S. citizen, but take this.
Come on. Yep. Read the first part of that article, Carl, and then we'll close out the class.
It's long past we recognize all the Latinos killed at the hands of the police. In January 1918, as the people of Provenir, Texas slept, a group of Texas Rangers, U.S. Army cavalry soldiers, and Anglo ranchers invaded the town. They abducted 15 Mexican men and boys, took them to the nearby hill overlooking a river, and shot them from 3 feet away.
Now, think about this. Ahabawan just read that these were supposed to be, what were they? What was those words you used, Ahabawan? They were stand up.
Department of Safety. The history is complex narrative of bravery and effective in bringing law and order to the frontier.
So these were brave men that brought law and order. These brave men that brought law and order, they abducted how many children or how many men and women?
15.
15 men and boys.
Abducted. These brave men that apparently, uphold the law, they themselves abducted people.
Sound like us.
All right. Keep reading, Carl.
Count out of Wakanda, it says the rest of the villagers sought refuge in Mexico. Days later, the executioners burned what was left of the town. They claimed, without proof, that their victims had been connected to a recent raid at the nearby Bright Ranch.
That's every story that we hear. You got no evidence that we're supposed to be, innocent until proven guilty. But without any evidence, you shoot them in the head, you burn their village, and you're these brave people that Donald Trump wants to commemorate. That's the history of every law enforcement agent.
If I may,
America. Yeah, go ahead.
You got to remember that, look where this is coming from, right? Understand that Donald Trump put a full page ad about convicting the Central Park Five, who are innocent black men, and never recanted a statement. And then when these guys were released from prison and went for a legal pursuit against them to sue Donald Trump, he was already president. As an acting president, you can't sue an acting president.
If I may.
Yep, go ahead.
What's kind of so crazy about this, as a kid, they had that show called Texas Ranger.
I was gonna go there
with Chuck Norris,
and he had the black partner. Remember? His partner was black. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay. And it was a cool show. Now you think about the propaganda and the history of it. Like that was the whole point of that.
Mm-hmm.
Propagandize that history and the just right over it with just Hollywood and cinematics.
Yeah,
it's designed to how do you say that when you want to? It's like de-escalating, right? It's designed so that it'll nullify or numb the emotion behind it, so you can see them in a different path. They do it all the time, right?
Sure.
They are looked at as you see these little white assassins that go shoot these schools up, right? And the first thing they want to say is he has mental problems. So now what they're trying to do is, I forget the word, when they try to basically bring down or ease the pain.
God, I know what what's that word?
Right. Pacify.
Yeah.
Try to pacify you, right? And with them pacifying it, now you done brought it down. They don't hurt so much. Now they could go ahead and instead of giving this little monster, 20 life prison sentences, oh yeah, we just gonna give him probation.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, sir, we a little over the time. You want to take us out?
Yep, come. Again, water for everybody tuning in. Shout out Barack, yeah, and Jen as well. All right, that's my mom checking in.
Oh, shalom, sis.
Yep, shalom, sis. Y'all shema thumba shema shai. To the brothers, y'all bashima shabrakatha. Another Monday night history class. Pay your Passover fee. Right, we got the Lord's Passover coming up. Make sure you pay your Passover fee. Be down there. And tomorrow, do not miss Kapadar's scripture breakdown. All right, tune in on YouTube, ISUPK Detroit YouTube, ISUPK Detroit Facebook. All right, 7 p.m. Kapadar will be live. All right, with that, we say shalom.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West.